Coming up tonight on the news at 5.
I'm Mike Dennison in Bozeman. Coming up, our first sit-down interview with Governor-elect Greg Gianforte.
Plus, the first round of a COVID vaccine could arrive in Montana as soon as December 15th.
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 5.
Good afternoon and welcome to the News at 5. I'm Jessica Nelson. Thanks for joining us. Governor-elect Greg Gianforte had his first sit-down interview with MTN News since winning the November election and becoming Montana's first Republican governor in 16 years. In a wide-ranging discussion, Gianforte talked about everything from getting schools open again to his search for a new cabinet to plans for tackling the ongoing crisis of COVID-19. MTN's chief political reporter Mike Dennison conducted the interview and has more.
Gianforte says he's hit the ground running since winning November 3rd, choosing his inner circle and now nailing down his cabinet, who will run state agencies.
Cabinet picks are incredibly important. I campaigned on bringing new leadership to these agencies, bringing a culture of customer service back. I got the short list from the nominating committees last week, but there are still resumes coming in.
He says most picks should be unveiled later this month. Also in the next 4 weeks, Gianforte says he hopes to lay out preliminary recommendations from his appointed task force to get COVID-19 under control in Montana.
I've asked the task force to look at this from every angle, from how are we going to distribute vaccines to how we're going to do testing. What restrictions should be in place for small business?
As for public health mandates or restrictions, Gianforte isn't tipping his hand too much yet. But he said while he'll be wearing a mask in the Capitol and recommending others do too, he indicated he probably won't be requiring it.
I generally believe in personal responsibility rather than mandates. I think Montanans will do the right thing when presented with the facts. And we have a serious health condition, and we have to consider the health and well-being of others as well.
When it comes to schools, Gianforte says he wants to get classrooms open across the state because face-to-face learning is vital, and that he believes it can be done safely.
I'm optimistic with the coming of the availability of a vaccine. As we make that available to families and teachers and our frontline healthcare workers, we're going to be able to get back to normal, and we have to for the sake of the future of our kids.
He'll also be working on a new budget and getting ready for the legislature, which he expects will start on time on January 4th. But the former software entrepreneur made clear that the economy and the health of Montanans is paramount on his mind.
Ultimately, I want to make it easier for small businesses. I want to make it easier for the families that are struggling, particularly those that have lost jobs through this period of the pandemic. We need to get healthy, and we need to get our economy going again. I'd like to look back, and people say that when Greg Gianforte took office, that was the turning point towards better outcomes for more Montanans.
So far, it looks like Mr. Gianforte is proceeding much as he promised in his campaign, in a deliberate business-like approach. What that means for specific policy steps to address the pandemic and the economy, for that, we'll have to wait a bit longer. Reporting from Bozeman, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Gianforte will be sworn into office as Montana's 25th governor on January 4th. Okay, let's head over to Curtis now for a check of our Monday forecast.
Hey, good afternoon, Jessica. Good afternoon, everybody. What a beautiful weekend and beautiful color here this evening. Cindy Hu just snapping this picture a few minutes ago. If you missed it because you were inside preparing for the 5 o'clock news, thanks to Cindy for sharing that image with us. Now, it wasn't necessarily a pretty day or a pretty weekend for the entire state. Going to Whitefish once again, you can just barely see the trails here. However, there has been low clouds and fog up around the Flathead Valley for the last several days. Some freezing fog issues over there with air stagnation advisories continuing here. But on the other side of the mountains, it's a world of a difference. We've got high wind warnings here for the Rocky Mountain front and a high wind watch out the High Line as the winds of change are certainly blowing. Hey, it's been nice knowing you, sunshine. It certainly was a great stretch of weather. It's coming to an end. Those clouds have moved in. 'Tis the season for some flurries, and we've got a little light snow, just maybe to add to the mood, the Christmassy mood here. And boy, December has been real quiet here recently. That is about to change. All and more on the full forecast coming up.
Governor Steve Bullock released the list of the 10 Montana hospitals who are expected to receive the first round of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. According to the governor's office, the vaccine could arrive as early as December 15th. St. Peter's Health in Helena, Benefice Health System, and Great Falls Clinic are among the hospitals receiving the vaccine. 9,750 doses of the Pfizer vaccine have been allocated to Montana. It will be shipped directly to facilities with cold storage access. The first doses will be provided to healthcare workers. The amount each hospital will receive is based on a survey by the Department of Public Health and Human Services on the estimated number of healthcare workers. A second round of doses will be provided to the state in another shipment prior to the second dose schedule, which is 21 days after the first. Those doses will focus on nursing facilities and rural hospitals. Federal organizations like Indian Health Services and the VA will be part of a separate allocation of vaccines. A composite of state and locally reported data shows Montana's COVID-19 case total is just over 69,000. Right now, over 16,000 of those are active cases. 782 Montanans have died as a result of complications with the virus. MTN is using a combination of sources to track cases each day. Local county health departments may be alerted to cases before Montana DPHHS. Montana lawmakers met today for the first day of a Rules Committee hearing that will lay out possible options for how the upcoming legislative session will be held. The committee members introduced proposed amendments, including ways some legislators could participate remotely. Whatever the legislature decides, it will have a big impact on the Helena community. Last month, the Lewis and Clark County Board of Health sent a letter to lawmakers urging them to hold the session remotely or allow most people to participate virtually to limit the chance of virus transmission. Local county and city commissioners and the mayors of Helena and East Helena have echoed those concerns. But not having legislators come to Helena could mean a major impact on local businesses. Kathy Burwell, president of the Helena Area Chamber of Commerce, urged lawmakers to use masks and other safety precautions so the session can go forward.
Every session, the flu just runs rampant. But now we're not talking about the flu. We're talking about COVID, which is a whole nother ball of wax. But this is not the time for us to have the legislature come in person.
Being safe and respecting others who may have medical issues will ensure that the session can be held safely and without interruption, and that the virus doesn't spread amongst you, your colleagues, and staff, and even our community.
The Rules Committee will not vote on any proposed amendments until next week. Well, today marks the 79th commemoration of the attack on American forces at Pearl Harbor. 2,400 service members and civilians were killed during the attack, including 15 Montanans. Due to COVID restrictions, a digital event was held this year to remember and honor the lives lost on that day. One of the ships present at Pearl Harbor was the USS Helena. Even after a torpedo broke its hull, the crew shot down 6 enemy aircraft of the 29 Japanese planes that were down that day. America fully entered the war after the attack on Pearl Harbor. 57,000 Montanans served in World War II, almost 10% of the state's population at the time.
We were the largest by per capita response of any state.
Of those Montanans that served, 1,500 did not return home. On our website, KTVH.com, we have more information about the USS Helena and the Montana Military Museum. Okay, when we come back, Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenance breaks down the week-long forecast for us, and later, student loan forgiveness, how it would work, and will it really happen?
Weather starts now with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenance.
Welcome back. Another real pretty picture just came in to my email from Will Ebert. Thanks, Will, for sharing that. You know, I didn't really get to see this in person because I was slaving away on the weather forecast. But boy, what a beautiful weekend. You can see certainly things have changed. Clouds have moved in. Still was very warm in Great Falls, and it still is very warm. It's 50 degrees out there right now. Gusts up to about 30 miles per hour. And the colors in the clouds really beginning to diminish around Helena. Once again, the Helena Valley inverted, calm and much colder than surrounding areas. There's Great Falls at 50, Cup Bank at 47, Kalispell, Missoula, Butte, Dillon, Helena, Bozeman. The Western Valleys locked in with some chilly air here, and that will again happen tomorrow. Wind speeds very, very light here in the western part of the state, pretty strong out across the north central part of Montana, and there's a high wind warning for the Rocky Mountain front, including down to Choteau and Augusta and out through Cup Bank through about the Shelby area as well. This going through tonight and into tomorrow afternoon. A little further, this means warnings mean imminent. It is going to happen if it's not already. High wind watch until 8 tomorrow night. Chester, Guilford, Havre, out through Fort Belknap, almost to the Harlem area here. That's likely being upgraded to a warning here as we get into tomorrow. And west of the divide, again, all this gray here is where we have air stagnation advisories. Very stagnant air because of the high pressure. Quiet conditions here on the radar, although a little in the way of some rain and snow up there around British Columbia. Elsewhere around the country, besides a few snow flurries into West Virginia, we're looking at pretty quiet weather here, and that's about to change though. Tomorrow, still maybe one more day with some mild temperatures and a bit of some wind across the prairies, colder conditions in the western valleys here. But heading into Tuesday, more in the way of cloud cover than we've seen here for quite some time. A mostly cloudy day for places like Great Falls and Helena, areas just east of the Continental Divide. A Chinook Arch cloud formation will likely form again for most of this area here tomorrow, right off of the Continental Divide, but just a fair amount of cloud cover for tomorrow. Again, another warm day here for the prairies. The valleys will be inverted here, but finally, a little precipitation Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning could have a little snow up there around East Glacier and Cup Bank and out the High Line here. Yes, snow falling in Montana in December. Some of that snow will drift its way southward close to Great Falls here by Wednesday afternoon. Maybe a little snow around the Helena area Wednesday evening. Some snow out the High Line as well through Wednesday evening. So there's the accumulation, just a little bit, an inch or two out the High Line, and eventually central Montana Wednesday night into Thursday morning could pick up again, an inch to 2 inches. That's about it. Just to kind of add to the mood here of the season. Here's a look at the forecast for tonight. Very warm numbers here tonight. Lows well above the freezing point, 30s and 40s in north central Montana. Northeast Montana a little cooler. Lewistown above the freezing point and way below the freezing point again around Helena, especially out in the valley. Here's the forecast for tomorrow. Up near 60 in Great Falls. Again, mostly cloudy, a pretty windy day as well. Out the High Line, maybe a little more sunshine the farther east you get. One more really mild day. Lewistown close to 60 degrees. And it's likely that the Helena area, the valley at least, will stay inverted with calm conditions and cooler temperatures. Wednesday in the afternoon, the evening, a few light snow showers going through potentially into Thursday morning. After that, a chance for a couple of snow showers this weekend. It does look like west of the divide we'll see more in the way of some snow. And for Great Falls, from 59 tomorrow to 39 with afternoon snow showers on Wednesday. And then it does look like a pretty windy weekend with a chance of some mixed rain and snow showers Sunday and some snow showers on Monday.
It stands to be one of the biggest boosts to Americans and the economy, wiping out some student loan debt. But how will this debt wipeout work, and will it really happen?
President-elect Joe Biden campaigned on a promise to forgive some student loan debt, and now millions of Americans are hopeful that will happen shortly after he takes office.
I think it is one of the most accessible ways that President-elect Joe Biden has to stimulate the economy.
Suzanne Kahn is the Director of Education, Jobs, and Worker Power at the Roosevelt Institute and says Biden has two choices for immediate student loan forgiveness. One, push for Congress to include it in the next stimulus package. He's currently doing that and pushing for $10,000 to be forgiven. Two, if Congress doesn't include it in the stimulus package, Biden can issue an executive order by authority given to him in the Higher Education Act. Either option could eliminate student loan debt for roughly 15 million borrowers and reduce the debt of another 30 million Americans.
it is most likely through executive action, or at least that the first movement we'll see around it is through executive action. That's really just because the federal government owns 95% of student debt, and the Secretary of Education has the ability to cancel it.
I mean, my sense is it's not inevitable.
Neil McCluskey is the director of the Center for Educational Freedom at the Cato Institute and says student loan forgiveness, especially through executive order, could be the most controversial way to go.
There seems to be straws that certainly he can grab and say, look, this gives me authority to just sort of write off this debt. Other people say it's not clear in the law that he can do that. And so if he were to try to cancel debt through executive action, it would probably end up in court, and it would be a pretty long court battle.
So if you're at home wondering what this means for your student loan debt, ultimately, it is now more likely than ever before that some of your debt could be forgiven, but still nowhere close to guaranteed.
I don't think it's inevitable, but I do think it is exciting that it's on the table, and frankly, important that it's on the table.
I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
President Donald Trump has signed into law a bill that aims to improve veterans' access to care and treatment, including outdoor recovery programs. The 2020 Veterans Compact Act includes provisions originally co-introduced by Montana Republican U.S. Senator Steve Daines and Nevada Democrat U.S. Senator Catherine Cortez Masto. It creates a task force within the Department of Veterans Affairs to explore and recommend opportunities to use public lands and outdoors for medical and therapeutic treatment of veterans. The bill also addresses treatment and care related to substance abuse and suicide, VA police officer training for response to suicide-related calls, and calls for an evaluation of programs that provide assistance to women veterans who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. Coming up next on the news at 5, to hear the music, you'll have to sign in online. I'll tell you how a popular film festival has gone virtual.
Montana's news leader. You're watching MTN News at 5.
And welcome back with us. A popular film festival benefiting Great Falls Ski Patrol is going virtual. The Banff Film Festival is normally held at the Civic Center, but because of the pandemic, you'll have to watch the films online this year. The films cover a variety of topics, including national parks, extreme sports. A portion of every ticket sold through the Great Falls Ski Patrol will go to the Ski Patrol.
This has always been our only fundraiser. We're not anticipating getting as much income from this year due to the circumstances, but every little bit helps.
You can find the Ski Patrol's link in this story on our website. That's KTVH.com. December is the time of giving, and a Great Falls restaurant is running a special promotion today to help raise money for Great Falls swimmers. Teriyaki Madness, located on 10th Avenue South in Great Falls, is hosting a fundraiser benefiting the Great Falls Swim Team Rapids. You still have time. The fundraiser is going on until 8 o'clock tonight. Those who mention the fundraiser will have a portion of their purchase donated to the Rapids. The swim team is a year-round competitive team that offers professional coaching and instruction for swimmers of all ages and abilities.
It's been a real citywide effort to keep the team going. Between the Peak, Great Falls High, and the city of Great Falls have all helped give us pool time. We do have to pay for it, so a lot of these funds will be going to pay for that and coaches and to make sure we can keep kids in the water, because with restrictions, we have to pay for more pool time, and things are a bit different than they normally are. So.
All right, like I said, you still have time. The fundraiser ends at 8 o'clock tonight. Okay, up next, fans of the movie Home Alone, which I love, will want to see this gingerbread house. You won't believe it. Stay with us.
When we welcome our West Coast viewers, my one-on-one conversation with the Health and Human Services Secretary on what you should know about the COVID vaccine. Also, the new robocall scam alert and what you shouldn't do when we see you back here tonight.
Montana's news leader. You're watching MTN News at 5.
Disney Plus is marking the 30th anniversary of Home Alone with a gingerbread replica of the mansion featured in the holiday classic film. The streaming service commissioned the creation of the edible version of the McAllister house in the United Kingdom. The cake designer spent 300 hours building this. It even comes complete with the plumbing van used by the burglars, as well as the pizza delivery car. The gingerbread house will be on display for child patients and their families at a hospital in the London area. Meanwhile, the 1990 movie is being re-released in theaters in the UK. Absolutely beautiful. Looks totally real. All right, that's all for us this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your Monday night.